Well, 25 years after Princess Diana was killed in that Paris car accident, the interest surrounding her life and untimely passing is as strong as ever.
Yeah, the fifth season of the hit Netflix show The Crown is rumoured to be causing tension within the royal family over the series' depiction of the princess' marriage and lead up to her death.
Well, right now, the newest must-see attraction in Las Vegas is an exhibition featuring more than 700 of Diana's personal items, including several of her gowns.
And in the UK, a documentary looking at the British and French investigations into the princess's death has made global headlines. The four-part series sees first responders and investigators speak public for the first time ever. Now, here's just a little taste of the Diana investigations. It's intriguing stuff. Have a look.
First of all, to make sure this was the princess's.
Immediately, I said to myself with loud voice, they killed her.
There's so many coincidences, so many odd things that just don't add up.
This is about lies. It's not the truth. This isn't the truth.
Emmy-nominated director of the Diana investigations, Will Jessup, joins us now live from Hampshire in the UK. Good morning, welcome to the show. There are many films about Lady Di's death, but yours is the first ever to get the British police officers involved actually on the record. What did you learn from them?
Yeah, fantastic. Good morning, Australia. We were the first people to have, as you say, the British officers from the London Metropolitan Police. They ran an operation called Operation Paget. In 2004 it started, so 7 years actually after Diana died in the Alma Tunnel in the car accident. And I think we learnt lots, but the main thing we learnt was what an incredible body of work it is to close down conspiracy theories once they're out in the open. So they looked at everything from, was Diana pregnant, through to were MI5 and MI6, the British intelligence agencies, and the CIA all colluding in an assassination attempt of, the mother of the future king. So it was no small effort on their part. At one point, they had to go and interview Prince Charles about whether he was planning to kill his former wife. So yeah, it was pretty sensational stuff. And the reason that they wanted to talk to us after all of this time, 25 years later, it was the anniversary, was to try and set the record straight, because even to this day, the conspiracy theories are still rife, and, you only have to go on TikTok, which I'm sure you have in Australia, to see that, there are 18-year-olds still peddling conspiracy theories about Diana being assassinated to this day. But the truth is, once the speculation is out there, it's very hard to put a lid on it again.
Right, so this is all about trying to shut down all those conspiracy theories. You also managed to convince the private investigator that Mohammed Al Fayed hired for his son Dodi Fayed to break his silence. So why did this PI agree to speak with you for the documentary?
Well, so this chap called Michel Kerbois, who you can see on screen there, is in his 80s, and he was a former officer of the French Brigade Criminelle, which is like their kind of main detectives that handle complex crimes. But he had retired just before the accident happened. So whilst the French detectives were pursuing their investigation, Mohammed Al Fayed, the father of Dodi Al Fayed, who was dating Diana at the time and was also killed in the car, he hired Michel Kerbois to run his own private investigation to see if he could work out what had happened, because the French police were taking so long. And the reason that Michel Kerbois, who speaks exclusively to us after 25 years, he's in his 80s, he's never done media, is because he feels still to this day that there was a denial of justice, and that the official verdict of what happened, i.e. an accident with a drunken driver, actually wasn't really the truth. And so he breaks his silence to tell us his theory of what happened in this series, which is also pretty sensational, really.
Wow. Really fascinating and sensational at the same time. During filming, you even shut down, as you mentioned, the Alma Tunnel where the accident happened. You went inside with the French officer who was first on the scene of this accident. What did that moment feel like for you?
Oh, well, frankly, it was very eerie. As you can see in that imagery, that's he's called Eric Gigoux, and he was basically the case officer, one of the main case officers for the French police. And he arrived in that tunnel, 2 hours, maybe an hour, maybe 1 hour after the crash. So in the early hours of the morning of Sunday, August the 31st, when obviously the car is still there, people are still around. And the reason they tasked this kind of elite detective force in Paris to look into it, even though ostensibly they thought it may have been a car accident, even then, just a simple traffic accident rather than anything more sinister, is that they knew that the eyes of the world would be on them. And I have to say, closing down this, the tunnel where it happened, the tunnel has this kind of strange, kind of haunting green light that washes over it. Walking back into it, kind of, silent with the guy that was there at the time. It was just really quite spooky. Like, the atmosphere was palpable, and you could see his eyes taking him back to that moment, and it just it felt, I have to, as I say, it was quite haunting, but also just what a privilege access to have to this chap, to be there living in his memory of this extraordinary kind of global event, global tragedy.
Yeah, we're right out of time, but just as we say goodbye, as the director of this documentary, do you think we have got to the bottom of the truth, and if not, will we ever?
Well, that's the thing. I think everyone has to make up their own minds, because there's no CCTV. No one who was in that car in the accident has told the tale. 3 of them are dead. Trevor Rees-Jones, the bodyguard who survived, still potentially has amnesia of what happened and has never spoken about it. So in the absence of any definitive proof, we all have to make up our own minds. And, the British police would say it was an accident, and they feel that they proved that beyond any reasonable doubt. But people, that's the nature of truth this day, isn't it? People need to make up their own minds.
All right, well, as we can see there, the most talked about documentary this year. Will, thank you very much for talking to us this morning.
Thank you for having me.